Race fans, hello and welcome. It is just past the 6 o'clock hour. If GM John Allen was here, I'd be getting yelled at. How come we're not getting started on time? So here it is, 6:02 on a Thursday. It's officially above the cushion night here for FOE Enterprises, Humboldt Speedway, and 81 Speedway. We're getting ready to head into a big weekend as we open the doors back up over at Humboldt for the Real American Beer World of Outlaws Late Model Series. And then Saturday night here at 81 Speedway, we continue on towards the last month for racing here at the Speedway. As we get going, just a lot of big shows going to happen. We wrapped up weekly championship points last Saturday night with the Broadway Truck and Auto Twister City Enduro as well as the Outlaw Power Wheels Showdown. That was absolutely great time. If you missed it, you can go back in the archives on Race and Dirt and check that out. We'd love to have you part of in the grandstands or on Race and Dirt, checking all the stuff out that we have going on. Of course, if you missed anything all year long, all of that is mostly archived on Race and Dirt. .tv. Some of it's going to be over on Dirt Vision, and then some start to finish as well, as they joined us a couple times through the year. Same thing over at Humboldt Speedway. We had a few times on the Race and Dirt .tv. Of course, Dirt Vision, Dirt Crown TV as well, when the Dirt Crown stock cars visited us at the Quarter Mile Bull Ring. So a lot of stuff. If you missed anything, go back into the archives on all of your streaming services, and you can find something at both of the racetracks here. We have a lot of news, a lot of notes to go over as we head into two nights for World of Outlaws late models. The phone has been absolutely ringing off the hook with questions, comments, concerns, and we are going to go over some frequently asked questions at the end of it. But right now on the phone line, Kayden Clatt is going to join us as he is getting ready to go for two nights of racing behind the wheel of the big body bad boys with the Real American Beer World of Outlaws late model series. How you doing tonight, Kayden?
Oh, doing all right. Just a little hot out, but that's all right.
Where let's see, it's coming up as Columbia, Missouri, but I think I saw your race shops in a different town. Where you at?
We're located in Jefferson City, Missouri. It's about 20 miles, I'd say, south of Columbia, maybe 25.
Okay. Um, Whoever's running your social media, I got a hold of them early this morning, and then they said they'd have to get with you when you got out of school. So I believe a junior in high school, just trying to live some dirt track dreams.
Yeah, school's not. Yeah, I mean, it can be easy, but just being there kind of sucks. But when the bell rings at 3:10, you get that little joy of freedom, and you're getting out of there, and then go down to the shop and do your own thing for the rest of the night.
Well, speaking of some dirt track dreams, still young in the game, but you've been doing it, I believe, since 2013. Who got you started in this, and then how did was your family in it before? Kind of, take us back to the very beginning.
Well, my grandpa used to drive a street stock around the Quincy raceways a little bit. Used to chase Roger Dolan around with the Larry Eckerdge crew and all them up from Iowa, and I just kind of had a lot of love for anything with an engine and a steering wheel that I could drive. I got kind of hooked on the Monster Jam deal when I was younger, and when I was four, Grandpa decided to put me in a go kart, and that just kind of started a path that kept getting bigger and bigger, I guess.
Where what kind of was it, a flat here at 81? And of course you'll see it when you get here. We have a little go-kart track, not affiliated with the big track at all. Just it's called Little 81 Speedway Kart Bark, and they race on Sundays. But did you start out in a cage kart? Did you get in a flat kart? What did your racing career start out in?
I test drove a cage cart once, but everything that I did was a flat cart. We kind of started local up at the Northeast Missouri, and then we kind of raced Shimmick Speedway a lot when I started. And then when I was about 11, we kind of ventured off and started running the Midwest Max Daddy Tour. That was a lot of fun, a lot of traveling too. We had some pretty good success with that, and we ended up kind of thinking it was time to move up to late model, and so we kind of took forth with that.
So you went straight from a go-kart into the late model?
Yes, sir.
Wow, big jump there. You uh, you run around with a couple different series, with the Revival Late Model Series, and of course the Comp Cams. We've seen both of them at the speedways. A great series to run with. Um, what is your what is your team? What does your setup look like? What, you know, a couple different rules you can run with the Rev in the Comp Cam series. What's your setup look like?
Well, we're kind of just, it's a family deal. We don't really have any hired help, I should say. My dad is, I'm lucky enough to have him as a tire guy. He takes care of all the tires, does a phenomenal job with putting some fresh rubber underneath the car every night. My grandpa helps around where I need it. We find a way to get to the track every Friday and Saturday. We, sometimes we're not there like we want to be, but as long as we're there and we're living our life, we're doing all right.
For some of the people that don't know, of course, with the Rev series, you can run a combination of rules. So with your guys' program, you know, what combination motor and thing are you guys running?
We run a 440 wide bore Pro Power from Bill Sleeper out of Wisconsin. So we run, if you run a spec motor from around here, you can run a 2 on the left front, left rear, and a 3 on the right rear. But with us being a little more power, we got to run 3s on the left front, left rear, and then a 4 on the right rear. But we are on the open package. I guess it might be said in the rules open, I'd say.
Okay. And of course, for everyone that's unfamiliar with what you're talking about with 2, 3s, and 4s, that is the tire compound that happens in it. With the Revival late model series, comp cams, and even the Sooner series, they regulate what tire compound you can run on what corner. Just for anyone that was a little unsure on the when he was throwing out the numbers there. Um, you know, kind of going back to the go kart, had some good success. Was it immediate success, or did it take you a little bit to kind of understand how to get around the oval?
The biggest thing on my part was when I'd pull off the track, I just needed to make sure that on my side I could provide my grandpa with the information that he needed to make the cart faster on adjustment wise. When we were racing around Iowa, we had a kind of a mentor teacher kind of helping us out, Dustin Westerkamp, and he was pretty good at the time. He was a dealer at the time. He helped me and my grandpa get up to speed, and then he kind of stepped away because he had 2 boys racing karts and they kind of got out of it, and we started doing our own thing a little bit more. And it wasn't I wouldn't say it was immediate. We definitely didn't start off tearing it up, but it's just one of those things after time and experience and working together and kind of figuring out what each of us needed. It was kind of one of those things. It was like a snowball that was going down a hill and it just got bigger and bigger.
For everyone joining in, Kayden Clatt is on the phone line ahead of a doubleheader weekend at Humboldt Speedway and 81 Speedway for the World of Outlaws late model series. Just kind of going back over kind of his history. But when you get into the late model, or you kind of, like I said, you went right from the go kart to the late model. Did you guys run? You know, were you on the open package? Did you put a crate in there? You know, what did that situation look like when you first got in there?
When we first started, we were on a crate, a 604 to be exact. So one of our buddies up around where we were living up in the Kirksville area, Scott Bryan, he had a track, and this was right around quarantine area, and that helped out a lot because he had a track on his farm and we could go out and test. We started in a 604, and then about halfway through the season, we had met Reed Millard at a race at Moberly Motorsports Park, and he ended up putting us in it wasn't a full-blown super, it was an older motor. It was a little smaller than what you'd run on like a traditional World of Outlaw and Lucas Oil show, but that kind of got us through the rest of that season. And then when I was 12, we put a full-blown 440 wide bore in the car, which is the kind of engines you see World of Outlaw guys run and Lucas Oil guys run.
Um, talk about a little of the, how did you adapt going from the go kart into the late model? Was it a pretty steep learning curve, or did you kind of just take naturally to it?
It was a pretty steep learning curve actually. It took a lot of time to get used to the power. A lot of people don't understand how much torque a late model has. It's instant power. It's a lot of speed. It's a lot more speed than in a go-kart. A go-kart, you're sitting close to the ground going 40. It's kind of slow movement. It's like racing asphalt. You go into the corner, barely turn the wheel, and then a late model, you're especially in the mud, you're wheeling it left and right. You're doing everything you can to get the car around the corner. So it took quite a bit of time to adapt to that part of it, and kind of pick it up from there.
Where was your first win in the late model?
Our first win would have been our second year at Moberly Motorsports Park. We ended up winning a weekly show there.
What would you consider to be like your home track?
I would consider Moberly to be our home track. We have a lot of laps there. It's 45 minutes up the road. Unfortunately, they don't, allow open motors to run up there weekly anymore. But this year we ended up going up there for the Wiener Nationals, and we had some decent luck up there.
What was some of the thinking and consideration into joining up with the Rev or the comp cams? What really falls into place when a team makes a decision like that?
Really, I think a lot comes into play when you're kind of deciding where you want to run. Most guys try and run a series, which would be you're dedicated to going to every Lucas Oil show or Revival show or Comp Cam show. But we kind of do our own thing. So around here, what we usually do is we take into consideration, the cost it would to get the truck and trailer there, the cost for pit passes, entry fees, how close it is from home, because it's not too fun to drive 6 hours home and have to get up Sunday and do work around the house. Um, but a lot goes in. There's a lot of consideration around our part of where we pick and choose to go. Based on our cost, the length of the drive, just that stuff. What series it is, how much does it pay? That stuff. We kind of go for places where we can get the most bang for our buck.
The going back and forth between the two series. I know for sure. I'm sure there's some other series and some stuff that you run, but um, very similar in kind of how they operate. Of course, there is always little things that set series apart. But between all the series and the things that you run, what series have you had a little more success in?
I mean, we've had decent success in all of them, I'd say. Probably the best success we've had is probably up for debate between Comp Cams and Revival. We just got off of Revival from Springfield about 4 weeks ago, and then Lake Ozark this weekend. But at the start of the year this year, we had some really good luck at the Comp Cam series, setting the track record at Springfield. Um, they're both really good series. They both have really good competition. I see like a trend of you kind of have almost the same amount of competition between the two. Um, it's kind of up for debate. We could kind of lean either way, but I would probably go with Revival off of this weekend at the lake, because we've been trying to find some speed in the slick recently, and we've had speed in the slick before, but when it gets really really black slick and there's just not any brown anywhere, we've struggled a little bit, and we've been trying to work on that, and it seemed we ended up moving forward quite a bit in both features Friday and Saturday, or both features, one Friday, one Saturday, which was really good. So I would go with Revival on that one.
I was looking back through the rev that we had, and I didn't see your name come up at either Humboldt Speedway or 81 Speedway. Have you been to either one of the surfaces?
I have not. I'm actually pretty excited to get on Humboldt and 81 this weekend. They seem like a blast to drive.
Um, I like to ask drivers when you go to somewhere new, or like maybe in the case of 81 Speedway, of course, FOE Enterprises purchased the property in 2020, so there was 50 years of racing before the last 6 years. So there's some changes in the track and stuff, but when you're getting ready to go to a new place, do you do any sort of homework? How do you prepare to get on a track you've never seen before, especially when you're going to be out there with the World of Outlaws?
The way that I've went about it this week is I try and get on YouTube, Facebook, any source of social media that I can find any sort of video from the track. Obviously, you guys had World of Outlaws there last year. Um, Watched that video quite a bit, and then you kind of can find a general idea of what you can compare the track to of what you've already been on, and you kind of compare and contrast notes on what you think you need. But really, when you're going to a new place, you're in the dark, you're in a dim light, kind of. You gotta get a good hot lap effort and see what you got, and then you kind of go from there and build on as the night goes on. But it's kind of you do your homework by watching video, what you'd call maybe film, comparing and contrasting notes, and you kind of give your best guess at what you think the car needs, and you hot lap it.
Headed into this weekend, what kind of after a race weekend, you know, any sort of major fixes on the car, just some minor maintenance. What's kind of the week been looking like?
Yeah, usually the first thing we get home, we obviously unload. I like to get the car washed, get everything cleaned up, roll it into the shop, get it up in the air, or check caster camber. That's usually the first thing I do. Do my caster camber, my toe. Pull the Oberg, see if any filings, because we have a 5-gallon oil tank. It has a filter in the tank. You pull it out, make sure there's no filings in it. Usually then run the valves, and then kind of, check over rear end stuff, lift arm, heim joints, pull all the shocks off, check over the shocks, make sure, you just do it's like a fine tooth comb. You just kind of make sure nothing's broke, nothing looks funny. And then once you're done with all your regular maintenance, then you go with your setup stuff and roll it on the ground and load it back up and go again.
Well, it sounds like it's been a fairly easy week. At least you didn't have to replace a bunch of stuff, or have to go back to the chassis builder or anything.
It makes it a lot easier.
um, Running different series and kind of just pick and choose schedule like you're doing. You see a lot of different shapes of tracks. You see a lot of different sizes. Um, this weekend you're going to see two very different surfaces, two very different sizes of tracks, back to back. What's your preferred, or what is kind of the a place you see a quarter mile or a 3/8 or a half mile? What's a size of track when you see it, you're like, okay, this is where we shine. This is going to be a good weekend.
Usually, I kind of like places that are a little more up on the wheel. Wheatland, we've had success there. We've ran good. It's a slow and slick track. I like it because we run good, but that's not like, I wouldn't say my preferred style. I'd say my preferred style is probably like, Fairbury. Um, it sucks because every time we've been to Fairbury, it just doesn't treat us very well. But we've run decent up there every time we've been up there. I just like that kind of track because it's speed. It's not fast speed, but it's speed. You're on a quarter mile. You're going 90. You're hooked up. You're usually throwing it on the cushion, or you got to be right around the tires. It's a fun track to drive. That, and probably Springfield's pretty fun to run because it's kind of like a fishbowl. You're a lot of banking. You charge the corner really hard and you rotate. Turn the wheel left, you rotate on the right front, and you're kind of drag racing off the banking down the straightaways. But I usually kind of like the more up on the wheel kind of tracks than the slowed and laid back ones that you can find.
Yeah, that's a pretty good description of that. Um, well, don't want to keep you all night. I'm sure you got some homework that probably needs to get done. You got to get ready for tomorrow, and of course, not sure if you're playing hooky tomorrow, or if you got to do a little bit of school headed towards. But a couple things I'm always curious about, and I love to ask drivers and get their feedback. Um, Scheme, paint scheme, colors. What goes into your thought process when you come up with a race car scheme?
Well, we're lucky to have Be Seen Signs as a sponsor, which is now Pyros, and Pro Design as well. This season we're usually yellow, and then when we got a Longhorn last year, and it was black, so that was a little different. We ended up just going with the wrap that we had with the yellow cars. But this year, I kind of wanted to change it up a little bit. I kind of wanted to go with red and some white and some black. So usually most guys, we're good at the driving, and we have most of us have designers like Slicker, Night Owl, Pro Design, places like that where the drivers kind of give a general idea of what they'd like to see, and they come up with a mock up or a drawing, and they kind of send like three different, little different things to you usually, and you kind of pick which one you like the best, and then you go from there. Sometimes you really like them and you keep them, or sometimes you change a little bit of stuff. But this year I worked with Andy for about 2 weeks. We worked, on changing some little stuff, and then he'd come up with something that looked really good and I'd like it, and so we'd go with it, and then we just build on from there. But usually you kind of have a basic idea of what you like, and then you build off of that.
Another thing I'd love to know is number. Where did you get the number? Where did it start? And kind of just tell me about your number.
So we've always been the number 50. That used to be Roger Dolan's number back in the day when he raced with the Eckridge crew. Um, my grandpa, that's kind of what we went with when we started flat carts, and we've kind of never really changed, and I've never really thought of changing. 50's just it's always been my number. It's nostalgic. It's halfway between 0 and 100.
I grew up around late models, and Larry McDaniel's was always the 50B car. So every time I see the 50, it kind of just takes me back to my childhood, and kind of running around with them. And my uncle raced late models for a long time, so big late model fan. I'm very much looking forward to this weekend. I do. Of course, I'm the track announcer at Humboldt and 81 Speedway, so I've had the opportunity to be able to call some late model race. We don't run late models on a weekly basis at either one of the tracks. It's all traveling series stuff. So was very fortunate to be able to call some late model races earlier this season, with the Sooner late model and the Revival late model series. So uh, I'm super pumped about this weekend. Late models are my jam. I'm ready to go. It's gonna be a great weekend. Um, a couple more things. Headed into a weekend with the World of Outlaws late model series. Of course, quite a few of these guys doing this for a living. They wake up in the morning and head out to the race shop, and that's all they focus on. Um, is there a different mindset headed into this weekend when you're up against a quote unquote professional drivers?
I just kind of put my all into the race shop part of it. I don't really let the professional side of it get to me, because I mean, we're all drivers. We all kind of have a sense of what we're doing. Everybody has their good and bad nights. I kind of look at it as I put 110% at the race shop, and if I go out and do my job driving, I feel like I have a good enough car and piece that if I do my job behind the wheel, we'll have a good outcome. And I kind of roll with it is what it is, and you do the best you can do, and you get what you get, I guess.
Last thing before we let you go, and again, I don't know who was talking to me on the side of the social media, but I very much appreciate them. for getting back to me as soon as they did and getting everything squared away. And I want to thank you for taking some time to be here on the show with us. Looking forward to this weekend, but I want to give you an opportunity to. I know it takes an army to get these cars up and down the road. Uh,
Guys.
I want you to thank, chassis builder, motor builder, any sponsors on the side of that car that are helping you get up and down the road. Where can people find you on social media? And are you bringing any merch to the tracks?
Yes, we just got some fresh merchandise a couple weeks ago from Gordy Gundecker out of St. Louis. We got white and black T-shirts. You can find us on Facebook at Kayden Clatt Racing. You can see pictures of the shirts. As far as people on the car, um, big thanks to Bill Sleeper out of Wisconsin. He's helped us a ton this year. He's always one phone call away with any engine stuff. Um, he's a big help in our program. Longhorn Chassis, Vinny, especially for all the help over the phone and getting us, some better equipment to keep our speed up. Reed Millard for sure for funding everything this year and keeping us up and down the road. Be Seen Signs, Pro Designs, McVickers, Misty Valley Farms, Papich, Toast Construction, everybody on the side of the car, Millard Family Chapels, the Cola Coffee Company, everybody that puts into our deal to keep us up and running all year. It does take a lot. It takes a lot everywhere, It's not a one-man band, so.
Well, man, you guys got it going on. We're looking forward to seeing you this weekend. I'll get down to the pit area and meet. I'd love to meet you in person and see what's happening and make sure everything's got the drive got done safe and got over to the racetrack. So appreciate you taking some time out of your very busy schedule to talk with us here on Above the Cushion. Again, very much looking forward to this weekend and then getting down and meeting you as well.
Appreciate it, Andy.
You guys have a wonderful night. Have a safe drive, and we'll see you at the races.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. JR's texting me. I'm not sure what he's getting at with the with the message, but great conversation with Kayden Clatt. Appreciate him. Of course, 16 years old, going to be at the racetrack with us this weekend at Humboldt Speedway and 81 Speedway. We are live on the 81 Speedway Facebook page. If you got a comment, question, want to say hi, go over to the 81 Speedway Facebook page. That is where the chat is. Got some things we need to cover for tomorrow night. The phone has been ringing off the hook at Allen's Automotive. GM John Allen's been fielding a bunch of calls. I want to make this crystal clear. If you are parking at Humboldt outside of the fences, you are in the general admission parking. Free. It's free, as it always is. We are not charging for you to park in the parking lots at either racetrack, Humboldt Speedway, 81 Speedway. Free to park in the parking lots for general admission. Now, if you are going to have a non-tow vehicle inside the fences at either one of the racetracks, there is a fee for that. You will have to pay a fee to have your non-tow vehicle in the pits at both racetracks. Just so we're clear on that. Kayla over at Allen's, John, of course, been at Allen's, been out at the racetrack, been working on it, fielding a lot of questions about, people upset about charging for parking. Absolutely not. You are not getting charged to park in the parking lots for general admission. Now, again, if you want to park your car in the pits and it is a non-tow vehicle, there is a charge for that. Most big shows, there always is a charge for that at both of the speedways. So we need to talk about that. It seems like I get made fun of by JR all the time about parking when it comes to the outlaw stuff. It's going to be packed. Cars are going to be everywhere. People are going to be everywhere. Race fans are going to be everywhere. Make sure you plan accordingly to get to either racetrack. It's going to be packed. Cars are going to be everywhere. Race fans are going to be, hammering to get in the door to meet their, watch their favorite driver and the late models for the World of Outlaws. It's going to be a great time. So make sure you plan accordingly to get to the racetrack. Be patient with everyone as we get them parked in the parking lot. If you're going to be in the pits, of course, with a non-tow vehicle, there will be a charge for that. So expect that at the gate. Pit passes. Pit passes are only sold on day of show. You cannot get on the 844 Dirt Ticks and get a pit pass. There's a waiver you got to sign. You got to go through all that. So I know technology has advanced way beyond, and you probably should be able to buy a pit pass before the day of, but that's not the world we live in. It is a day of pit pass buying for both tracks, all events. Pit passes are always the day of. So been some questions about that. Question I got today: how do I know that my seat is going to be saved if I buy a reserved seat? Now, some people don't always make it to the main grandstands, particularly here at 81 Speedway. So this question was about 81 Speedway, about how do I know someone's not going to be in my seat? If I buy a reserve ticket, how do I make sure no one's in there? All the seats in the top 10 rows at 81 Speedway in the main grandstand, they are numbered. They have a number on them, 1 through 10, 1 through 12, whatever it is. Your ticket will say what seat you are sitting in. If you get to your seat and someone is sitting there, we need to please get with some of the staff at 81 Speedway, and we just need to figure out, did we double buy seats? Is someone where they're not supposed to be? Someone doesn't, maybe they're in the wrong section, how it works out. Please be kind to each other, be nice. It's just an honest mistake that someone's in your seat. And of course, get with staff here at Humboldt Speedway or 81 Speedway, and we'll get the seating taken care of. Do want to talk about reserve seats because there are both of them at the speedways, and there's still time to buy. Let's talk about tomorrow night over at Humboldt Speedway. Of course, we've had some time off. Racing has been completed over at the Humboldt Speedway at the world famous Bull Ring. So we're glad to get the doors back open and get some racing for the final race of the 2025 season here at Humboldt Speedway. Of course, World of Outlaws, late models, Midwest mods, no points, all about the money. We're going to talk about that here in a second. Top 8 rows in sections A, E, and F, and there is a seating chart over on the World of Outlaws website that you can get over there and check out how that is. Top 8 rows are going to be reserved seating. Advanced reserved $35, day of is $40, so save yourself $5. Get over to the World of Outlaws website and get your tickets bought. Advanced adult general admission, $30 in advance, $30 day of. Child general admission, 6 to 12, that's $10. Vehicle access, I think this is where people are getting messed up. That is your non-tow vehicle. Non-tow vehicle is how it's worded as vehicle access. If you want to park your car in the pits and it is a non-tow vehicle, $20 to get your car inside the gates at both speedways. Reserve seating, again, top 8 rows, section A, E, and F. Pit pass prices. Pit passes are $45. That is day of. And then adult pit upgrade. There's been some questions about this. Child pit upgrade. So here is the situation. If you purchased a grandstand ticket, you're going to sit in your reserve seat, but you want to upgrade to a pit pass. That is where the $10 comes in. Same thing with the 40, same thing with the 35 for the child. So if you have already bought your advanced reserve seat and you want to upgrade to the pit pass, it's going to cost you $10 for an adult, $35 for the children. So it is $45 to get into the pit area for that. So that's been some questions about the upgrade, the pit upgrade. That's what it is. If you already purchased a grandstand ticket and you want to get you'd rather have a pit pass, $10 for adults, $35 for children, $45 total. Total. It's not the $45 plus the $10 or plus the the $35. You're not going to be 70, $80 into it. Okay, you're just gonna. That's what the upgrade is. So we want to be clear about that. Has also been some questions about seat backs and cushions. So this again, this is a World of Outlaws rule. This is not a 81 Speedway, Humboldt Speedway, FOE Enterprises rule. This is a rule that is for the Outlaws, as well as it carries over into the high limit. You are allowed to have a seat cushion, cannot have a back, and cannot have any metal pieces. So if it's just a little piece of foam that you're just going to sit on, perfect. Cannot have a back, cannot have any metal pieces. Again, that is a rule for the Outlaws that has nothing to do with Humboldt Speedway, 81 Speedway. It's in the contract for the World of Outlaws. No seat backs, no metal pieces can be in there. Again, if you have a foam cushion, just a little seat, perfect. Bring that and that'll get you in there. That's what I got for frequently asked questions. If you have something else, head over to the chat on 81 Speedway Facebook page and pop them in there. I'm going to keep going through some stuff happening tomorrow night over at Humboldt Speedway, and I want to talk about Extrusions Inc. Midwest mods. This is a no points race. The points are over. Mitch Coulter is your 2025 champion at Humboldt Speedway for Extrusions Inc. Extrusions Inc. Midwest Mod Series at Humboldt Speedway. Mitch Coulter, champion. Congratulations to that team. This is a no points show. It's all about cash. We need to thank the following sponsors for throwing in some money, some added. There's some gift cards coming in from a couple places. We're going to talk about all that. First and foremost, we have to thank Winks Racing Engine and Machine. Big thanks to them for helping us put this event on. They threw up a bunch of the money to add to the winner's pot. And then, of course, we did some of it back through the field as well. We need to thank Snyder Race Car Bodies and Bumpers, Rockin' DJ Tony for throwing in some cash. I need to thank Nick Ballman and Phil Nightingale over at Mel Hamilton Racing. Second through fifth is going to get a gift card from Mel Hamilton Racing. And then I also need to thank Bobby Bills and his entire team at Bills Built Race Cars and B2 Race Components. 6th through 10th is going to get a gift card on behalf of Bills Built Race Cars as well. So still trying to work on some other stuff for some hard chargers. If you would like to donate to the winner's pot, get a hold of Kayla over at Allen's Automotive. Get a hold of GM John Allen. Get a hold of me. Let me know, and of course we can get your company out there. We can get your name out there. We can do all that. You can do it day of at the gate. Just make sure you kind of, for a lack of a better term, get someone kind of in the know. You can't just grab a random official and say, "Here's $100. I want it to go to this." Get with myself, John Allen. Kayla will be over there as well. If you want to do it before the races, of course, contact me, John Allen, Kayla. If you want to show up at the ticket window and say, "I got some cash, I want to throw it in on this," can you get me Andy Clark, get me John Allen? They'll radio us and we can come help you out. So if you'd love to throw in on the pot for the Extrusions Inc. Midwest mod, we'd love your support. The racers would love your support, and we can get you taken care of. Just let us know. We can get that done. But we do need to thank Winks Racing Engine and Machine, Snyder Race Car Bodies and Bumpers, Tony's Rockin' DJ for throwing in, Mel Hamilton Ford Racing, Bills Built Race Cars, all great supporters of Friday night's Midwest mod money race fixing to happen over at Humboldt Speedway tomorrow night. Glad to be back. We talked about it last week and when we had Kelly Shipman and JR on. Took me a couple weeks to kind of get over the long drive, but I'm glad to be back. I'm excited for this race. Of course, late models are my thing. So looking forward to being part of this one. And of course, $1,000 on the line for Extrusions Inc. Midwest Mod on behalf of Winx Racing Engine and Machine. So looking forward to seeing everyone out there. If you are going to race with us for Extrusions Inc. Midwest Mod Series, and you've not raced the Midwest Mods in the 2025 season at Humboldt, you need to get on My Race Pass and get registered. Please pre-register. We can take care of you at the gate, but just know that there's going to be a lot of people, and you may have to wait till there's a little gap to get your registration done, as we're just trying to roll everyone into the pit area. So we'd love, if you're going to race with us again for the first time in 2025, make sure you're pre-registered. That is going to translate over into Saturday with the USRA Modifieds. If anyone's hasn't raced with us in the 2025 season for the Modifieds, please get pre-registered. It's just going to save you some time at the window, getting all your information in there and taken care of. So get that done. We want you to come race with us. We just want you to be pre-registered. We would love it if you would be pre-registered before you get here. Of course, we can take care of you at the window to get you registered, but we want you to get that pre-done as well. That's the event for Friday, tomorrow night at Humboldt Speedway. I hope I see everyone out there. I want you guys to absolutely pack the stands in support of the World of Outlaws Late Model Series and the Extrusions Inc. Midwest Mod Series, as they put on one final show for the 2025 season. After that, we're going to fully put Humboldt to winter sleep. We're going to get everything winterized. We're going to go through, would love to do a couple little projects. We'll have to see how the winter shakes out and how things are going, and then we'll get ready for 2026. Again, there is going to be some changes in the 26 season for Humboldt Speedway. I'm going to get JR back in here. I'm going to get John Allen over to Wichita. We're going to sit down. We're going to go fully everything, fine-tooth comb, and talk about what's going to happen in 2026 at Humboldt Speedway. That is going to happen when we're done racing. So probably the first part of November, we'll get on to that, but we'll get finished racing at Humboldt Speedway and 81 Speedway. Then we'll kind of work on the 2026 season. So I know people have questions about what's going to happen in 2026, and we're going to cover it right here on Above the Cushion with the bosses. We'll have another boss show as well. Saturday night, great event. We'd love to have you at both of them. Humboldt Speedway Friday for the Real American Beer World of Outlaws Late Model Series, the Winx Racing Engine and Machine Extrusions Inc. Midwest Mod Race. But Saturday night, we're going to honor a great car owner, Ed Gressel Memorial, right here at 81 Speedway, as we roll on for the second night with the World of Outlaws Late Model Series. Again, A-Mods for the USRA rules, no points, all about some money, $3,000 on the line for the USRA cars. Again, if you haven't raced with us in 25 and you want to race on Saturday night for the A-Mods, make sure you are pre-registered before you get to the gate as well. As far as the parking, the pit upgrade, all that stuff, still the same here at 81 Speedway that we talked about with Humboldt Speedway. There is a couple extra things that happen over here at 81 Speedway. So reserved seating, top 10 rows in sections A through H, which is the entire main grandstand here, top 10 rows. And again, they're all numbered, so you're going to be able to find your spot absolutely no problem. You have a spot to sit in. If you're in section A, row 5, seat 12, that's your seat. It's on your ticket. That's it. Talk about some ticket prices. Of course, advanced reserve tickets, $35, day of $40. Same thing as Humboldt Speedway. Advanced general admission tickets are going to be $30, day of $35. Same thing as Humboldt. A child general admission is going to be 6 to 12. That's $10. Children general admission 0 to 5, that is going to be free at the Speedway. Same thing with the pit upgrade. If you bought a grandstand ticket and you want to upgrade to a pit pass, for an adult, it's going to be $10. For a child, it's going to be $35. Pit side party spots are going to be $50 a piece plus your pit pass. So $45 for the pit pass, $50 to park in the pit side party spots. Now, what are the pit side party spots? We talk about them a lot on big events. I believe there is 12 spots, and they are all from basically the backside of the Bills Built Park Shack going north. You can park 12 cars right there. It is an absolutely awesome way to watch the races. If you've not experienced it, I highly recommend it. Get your truck, have the bed pointed towards the racetrack, put your lawn chair in the bed of it, and watch the races from the bed of your truck. Pit side party spots, or track side parking as it's put on here, $50 plus the cost of the pit pass. Again, vehicle access is going to be your non-tow vehicle inside the gates in the pits. That's $20 plus the cost of the pit pass. Same thing over at Humboldt. You want to park your truck inside in the pits with your favorite driver, it's going to cost you $20 plus your pit pass. 81 Speedway general admission parking lot, absolutely free, as it always is on Saturday nights and some Friday nights here at 81 Speedway. Don't have to worry about that. As far as the grandstands, kind of the typical for 81 Speedway, pit gates are going to open at 3 o'clock, grandstands at 5, hot laps begin promptly at 6:15. This will be on the Dirt Vision, so no Friday night and Saturday night on Dirt Vision. No racing dirt with us Saturday night. For the World of Outlaws, Dirt Vision will be in the house. All the broadcast and the TV runs through the Dirt Vision for Friday and Saturday. So love to have you in the grandstands with us. And of course, if you want to watch highlights later on, all that can be found on the Dirt Vision. Same thing for the grandstands here at 81 Speedway as we have over at Humboldt Speedway for Saturday night and Friday night. If you have just a little seat cushion that you want to sit on, you're going to be allowed in. Cannot have a back, cannot have metal pieces. Those are the two rules. No backs, no metal pieces. Get your seat cushion to help you out to sit on. Of course, the aluminum grandstands here at the Speedway, not too terrible on your back. But if you need a little extra cushion, of course, bring that in. Cannot have a back, cannot have metal pieces. Cannot stress that enough. Both speedways, of course, clear bag policy is still in effect. So any bag you bring in has to be transparent. As you've been here at 81 Speedway throughout the year, you kind of know how that works. If you've been at any other sporting event, at any other arena, any school, anything like that, it's always clear bag policy. That's not special to 81 Speedway or Humboldt Speedway. That's pretty much in events across the board, across the country. Clear bag policy, at racetracks, concerts, sporting events, all that stuff. If you're unsure, it is posted on the 81 Speedway and Humboldt Speedway Facebook page, and it also is posted at, if you're really unsure, we do have a bag check at the front. So when you come in, you get your ticket, you come in, they'll get you scanned in, we can check your bag, make sure everything is good to go. Again, World of Outlaws late model is going to join us Friday night at Humboldt, Saturday at 81 Speedway for the Ed Gressel Memorial, is where you're going to honor a great man that we lost a couple years ago. It's been a great time with the USMTS the last couple years, but we're going to do it with the World of Outlaws late models this time, as of course the Gressel Racing Camp doing splitting time between modifieds and late models during their span of career. So this year is going to be with the late models, and really looking forward to that. And of course, the USRA modified rules for the A mods. Going to see probably quite a few cars show up as we get tuned up for the end of the month for the USMTS Spooktacular. So probably be a pretty big field of modifieds. Some heavy hitters are going to roll into town just to try to get tuned up for the 25th race that's going to happen. So you don't want to miss it. You want to be here to watch the World of Outlaws late models. Love to have you over at Humboldt Speedway on Friday. Make a 2-day show of it. Travel over to the Quarter Mile Bull Ring in Humboldt, Kansas, and then be right with us here at 81 Speedway on Saturday. Do have another thing we need to talk about. I believe that some people are getting confused when we talk about the World of Outlaws. So the World of Outlaws sprint cars were here in March 29th. If you bought a ticket or a pit pass for that, it cannot be used for this Saturday night here at 81 Speedway. Of course, no World of Outlaw sprint car event at Humboldt Speedway, so it's not been a factor. But here at 81 Speedway, March 29th, 2025, that was a postponed World of Outlaws sprint car event. That ticketing completely different from what is going to happen here Saturday night for the World of Outlaws late models. Now, for everyone from March 29th for the sprint cars, your tickets, your pit passes are good for the October 24th race. According to the World of Outlaws and World Racing Group policies, tickets are traceable. If you bought a grandstand ticket, you can figure that out. Pit passes, on the other hand, you have to have the actual wristband from the races to get a new one for the 24th. There's been some questions about that as well. What if you don't have them? We went and looked up the policy on World Racing Group and World of Outlaws. You have to have the physical bracelet from the March 29th racing to get a refund or to get a new one for the 24th. That is a policy for the World Racing Group. That is a policy for the World of Outlaws. That is not an 81 Speedway policy. So please, we are just relaying information. The question has been asked about the pit passes, about the tickets. We went at Katie. Got to give her big praises. She's been doing all the research, all the phone calls. She's absolutely amazing. Please tell her thank you when you see her at the races. She works tirelessly round the clock. Plus, she has to deal with JR. She is very busy, but she has done all the research for the tickets. When there's a little bit of confusion going on, so she went and did all the research. So March 29th, that is a different show than what is going to happen here Saturday night. So your tickets for March 29th are still good for October 24th for the World of Outlaws sprint car, but it is not going to work for Saturday night here for the late models. Two different classes, how that all works. So just want to clarify that as well. Still going to have a race October 24th for the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series. We'd love to have you at. If you were with us on March 29th for the postponed show, your ticket is traceable through the ticket service that the Outlaws have. But for the pit pass, you will have to have the actual band to be able to get you a new one issued on the 24th. We'll be talking a little bit more about that as we move forward the next couple weeks. As we are going to run this weekend Friday at Humboldt Speedway, we're going to put Humboldt Speedway to bed for the winter after Friday night. Saturday night here at 81 Speedway, we're going to run, and then we're going to have the next 2 weekends off here at 81 Speedway as we prepare for a back-to-back show with the World of Outlaws Sprint Cars and then the USMTS Modified Spooktacular. So still some racing to go on here in the 25 season before we put everything to hibernation for the winter and get ready to go. Been some questions about the banquet. Still working on that. Very early. Again, we're still racing, so we're trying to get that out. But I know there was some rumblings about the banquet, when it's going to be, what's going on. We are working on it. Again, Katie is working on it. She is getting it. No answers as of yet. Where can you find them? Right here on Above the Cushion or on the Facebook page. We're going to get all that information out to you. So again, we are still racing here at the Speedway. So we're not quite ready to go into banquet mode and get all that handled and honor our champions. But we are working on it. So we'll get that to you guys as soon as we can. I think that's it for me. If you have questions, you have comments, you have concerns, reach out to the Speedway. We want to get you the right information. Again, we are relaying policies from the World Racing Group and the World of Outlaws. This is all taken care of by the Outlaws. It's their ticketing, it's their rules, it's their everything. It's their race. Call the Speedway. You want to know a question, you have a question, you want to know the answer. We can help you find that. But I would definitely check the World of Outlaws website for their policies. If it's unclear, we can try to clear it up for you as much as we can. But again, when we're talking about tickets and fees and how all the pit passes work, and especially when we come up to the makeup show on October 24th, we're just going to be relaying policies that we have found on the World of Outlaws website. If something is not super clear, Katie's been in contact with the World Racing group just trying to clear it up. But again, we're just relaying policies from the World Racing Group and World of Outlaws, so we want that to be very clear. It's not our policies, it's not our rules. We don't take care of any of the ticketing when it comes to the Outlaws. That's all run through the Dirt Ticks, which is part of the World Racing Group. So please be kind when it comes to some of that stuff. Again, we are just the messenger. And as the famous, don't shoot the messenger. So appreciate everyone for tuning in on Thursday night. Want to thank you. It was a great conversation earlier in the night with Kayden Clatt out of the Missouri area, young racer. Been racing around with the Revival 8 model series, the Comp Cam Super Dirt Car series. Of course, didn't make the trip over to Humboldt Speedway or 81 Speedway with either one of the traveling series when they were here. So we're gonna really looking forward to meeting that young man at Friday at Humboldt, and of course here at 81 Speedway on Saturday night for the Ed Gressel Memorial. Want to thank everyone again for tuning in every Thursday night. I've been having a lot of trouble with the uploads to YouTube, so Pit Stop just got uploaded on Wednesday morning, so I do apologize for that. I got the next one in the queue, and I'm going to try to get it out. I try to get them out on Monday, but if I have upload problems, it takes me a little bit longer, so I do want to apologize. I know there's been some drivers that have had pit stop interviews, and they're kind of wondering where theirs are at. I just want you to know I have them stacked up. I have we got to be able to go through the winter here, so I got them stacked up. They're in the queue. I'm getting some out, before some other ones, and like Josh Landerman, his pit stop came out a little bit early, picked up a win. A good win. That crew's been working on it, so I felt it was kind of an honor thing to get his pit stop out there after the win and get going. Andy Smith, part of the Wickham Heating and Air Conditioning Mini Stock and Tuner, his pit stop got uploaded on Wednesday, so head over to the YouTube page to check out Andy Smith's newest pit stop interview there. Give them all a like, give them a share. I really appreciate everyone that's been subscribing to the YouTube, been liking, been making comments. Get on there, hit that notifications tab so you know when we do an upload. I am going to get the Bosses and the Legends Enduro above the cushion uploaded. Again, having some trouble with it, but I will get that up there and going. And of course, tonight with Kayden Clatt, we will get that up there as well on the YouTube page. So I do appreciate everyone's patience in that. It's just as frustrated with it as you guys, but we're going to try to get better and keep going. So that's all I got tonight. Thank you guys very much for tuning in every Thursday here for Above the Cushion. Need to thank our sponsors, TM Fencing LLC and Hornet Cutting Systems, the official trophy sponsor here at Humboldt Speedway and 81 Speedway. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic weekend. Get out to the races and enjoy the World of Outlaws Late Model Series and the Ed Gressel Memorial here at 81 Speedway. The A mods are going to be back in action Saturday night, and Extrusions Inc. Midwest mods will be the stars of the show for $1,000 to win tomorrow night over at Humboldt Speedway. Appreciate each and every one of you. Good night. God bless. We'll see you at the races.